Donald Trump has officially called on all Department of Homeland Security related agencies, including ICE and CBP, to continue the mass deportations across the country, but specifically to target Democratic run cities in what some online are describing a war on blue cities. Overnight, Donald Trump announced that he was instructing all agencies to continue and ramp up ICE enforcement activities in cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York. And the reason why is in response to the No King's Day protests. It's in response to the massive protest, the anti ICE protests we've seen nationwide as well. And now he is instructing his Department of Homeland Security to specifically target Democratic run cities to meet his quota of 3,000 deportations or 3,000 arrests per day, which he has not met thus far. But many are crying out loud, many are upset about this new statement from the president, because imagine if Joe Biden announced that he would be targeting only Republican led cities, when in reality, there are a number of undocumented migrants living in states like Texas with a Republican governor, a Republican legislature, a state that has voted for Donald Trump multiple times. And yet, regardless of that, he is targeting Democratic run cities. Now, before I continue, if you want to support my work, please consider subscribing to my Substack by clicking the button below or sending a one time donation to my Venmo to support to Aaron Parnas. Now, in addition, Donald Trump is focusing on, quote, crackdowns in these blue cities. Why? Because he says that Democrats are using undocumented immigrants to cheat in elections. And so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens next. Out of Minnesota, we have some big news overnight. Vance Boelter, the suspect allegedly responsible for shooting one Democratic lawmaker and killing her and her spouse, and shooting another Democratic lawmaker and injuring them severely. Well, he has been arrested in what authorities have called the largest manhunt in Minnesota history. He now faces charges of second-degree murder along with attempted murder. They intercepted him at Melissa Hortman, who's the Democratic lawmaker who actually passed away, at her house after the first attack, which potentially limited future violence. A hit list was found with Boelter that included a list of prominent Democrats, a prominent list of lawmakers, abortion advocates, etc. His wife was actually also detained over the weekend with a bag of ammunition, cash, weapons, and a passport. So he will be now indicted. He will be presented before a court, a jury, and then we'll go through the case proceeding and we'll see what happens next. But he has been caught after a 43-hour long manhunt. In addition, according to The Guardian, new VA hospital guidelines following a Trump executive order essentially allows medical staff, including doctors, psychologists, and nurses, to refuse to treat unmarried veterans and Democratic veterans, as protections based on political affiliation and marital status have been removed. The rules allow VA workers to specifically decline care based on personal characteristics not explicitly prohibited by federal law, and also permit employment discrimination based on marital status, political view, or union activity. Today, the G7 kicks off. Donald Trump is in Canada, where he will be meeting with Prime Minister Mark Carney ahead of the G7. There are a number of topics on the list, including Israel, Iran, Israel, Gaza, Ukraine, Russia, and much more. Russia has announced that the United States has called off the next round of bilateral talks aimed at easing diplomatic tensions. There's no reason given as to why the United States has called off the talks, but we'll see what happens next. Saudi journalist Turki al-Jassar, who was arrested back in 2018 on charges of terrorism, which was widely seen as fabricated, was executed after the death sentence was upheld by the kingdom's top court. Human rights groups say that he was targeted for running a social media account that was critical of Saudi royals, and his execution reflects ongoing repression of dissent under Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. ICE raids at multiple Home Depot locations in Southern California have targeted undocumented day laborers, triggering panic, protests, and a heavy National Guard presence. Lawyers and advocates say that detainees have been held without access to legal counsel or basic necessities, with some being swiftly deported. We're now learning that Trump's big, beautiful bill includes a provision that the United States would impose escalating, quote, revenge taxes starting at 5% and rising to 20% on foreign investors and businesses from countries with, quote, unfair taxes on U.S. entities, which would potentially deter foreign investment into the United States of America. Eric Trump, Donald Trump's son, this morning announced the creation of Trump Mobile, claiming it will revolutionize cell phones, but many are saying this is yet another grift from the Trump family. And finally, in Israel, Iran news, explosions rocked residential areas in Tehran as Israel and Iran continue to exchange back and forth attacks. Iran has launched 8 attacks now on Israel. Israel has launched a significant number of attacks on Iran as well. 14 Israeli deaths have been confirmed. I believe it's over 200 Iranian deaths have been confirmed. Tehran residents are now actually fleeing or sheltering underground, with reports of civilian casualties mounting. Israel is saying that it needs to continue to do this to prevent Iran from ever achieving a nuclear weapon. There was actually a report overnight that Donald Trump vetoed an Israeli plan to kill the Iranian supreme leader, Ali Khamenei. It's unclear. Israeli officials have denied that, but almost everyone has in the news media has agreed that it existed and Trump vetoed it. So that's all the news right now. I'll be providing you updates throughout the day. So subscribe to my Substack to support or send that one-time donation via Venmo to Aaron Parnas, and I'll see you this evening.